you very much, he said. And good afternoon to you all. It is very, very nice to be with you. My colleague here, Dr. Carmen Bergman, and we visited Sunnyside this week. We've had a very nice time meeting your children, finding out what they are learning, finding out what they think about learning, and enjoying their enthusiasm and their excitement. Today, we're going to give you some ideas of what you can do to help your children even more than you do already. We're going to play a video in a moment with some Japanese subtitles that will help. We'll then give you time to think about it, and I will then answer your questions. And all of this is to give you some ideas of what you can do with your children to help them even more than you do right now.
短く言うと皆さんが今頑張って子育てしてらっしゃるそこにですね、何か新しいアイデアを持ち帰っていただいて、さらに子どもの成長を助けることができるようなそういう話の内容を考えてみましたのでっていうことと、やっぱりこういう外国語の講演ってこうやっていちいち翻訳してるとちょっとだらけちゃうんで、ビデオで最初にちょっと10分ぐらいのビデオで字幕つけてありますので、それを見ていただいて、その後皆さんからもご質問いただいて、でまたいろいろご紹介してっていう感じで進めていきたいと思いますので、お願いいたします。
Where do intelligence and talents come from? Many of us believe we are born with them. We're born with a mathematical mind or a musical talent, or we are born sporty or we're not. We're born very linguistic or we're not. Whereas others of us think that it's much more about our circumstance and our early childhood and what is encouraged in our lives. Some of us think it's about nature, some of us think it's about nurture. Those of us who think it is mainly a genetic influence think that talents and intelligence won't change very much over time. Of course we can get better, but we're not going to go from being completely non-musical to being totally musical by the end of our lives. We can change it a little bit, but not dramatically. Whereas those of us who think that it's much more about our circumstance and our passion and our effort and our determination think that actually we can change things. I can go from not being sporty as a child to being very sporty as an adult. I can go from not speaking another language when I'm a child to actually being multilingual when I'm an adult, so long as I put the time and the effort and the devotion into it. One way to describe the differences between these is fixed mindset. That is, mostly our talents are fixed by genetics, fixed by birth. There is going to be a change, but relatively speaking, over time, it's somewhat fixed. Whereas the opposite is growth mindset. We can grow our talents and intelligence. And of course, we can lose it over time as well. Well, what difference does it make? You see, the truth of the matter is, of course, talents and intelligence comes from both genetics and experience. Nonetheless, our beliefs about these determine our actions and our reactions. So let's look at that. Let's look at what happens when, for example, we fail or things go wrong. When we're in a fixed mindset, we tend to panic a bit. We think, I've reached the limit, people have found out I'm not that good anymore, there isn't very much I can do, and so I can hope for the best. I might even cheat, but certainly I'm going to avoid those situations. If I'm not sporty, you know what? I'm not going to engage in sport. If I'm not musical, don't ask me to learn a musical instrument because I just don't have a musical bone in my body. Whereas those of us in a growth mindset think, it went wrong, I need to do something about it. I need to improve. I need to fix this. But what I do will make a difference. I can focus more. I can adapt my strategy or adapt the skill that I'm using. I can try harder. There's lots of things I can do. So notice, when we're in a fixed mindset, we're kind of a little bit more helpless in the face of challenge and problems. Whereas in a growth mindset, we're more determined that we can figure this out. There's always something that we can do. Let's go to the opposite circumstance then. What motivates me? Why do I do the things that I do? Now, in a fixed mindset, very often we do these things because we're told to. Many children are, shall we say, told to or heavily encouraged to do something by their parents, to learn to play a musical instrument, to play a particular sport that their parents are interested in. Their parents drive this passion. It's an extrinsic reward based, so the parents will praise them, they'll give them extra rewards for doing it. And in fact, often the child then does these things very well. But there's also this underlying sense that they need to do it to earn their parents' love or respect or time. Whereas in a growth mindset, it's much more about, I do it because I want to, because I love doing it, because it gives me a sense of satisfaction and pride. I have this intrinsic drive to do it. It makes me feel happier. And of course, what we do as parents, what we do as adults, has a very significant impact on the way in which children respond. So the more rewards, the more extrinsic pressure and encouragement I put on the children, the more likely they are to get into a fixed mindset. Whereas the more I encourage their own passions and give them the time, listening to them rather than driving them, listening to their passion and asking them questions and getting involved with their passions, the more likely I am to get them into a growth mindset. All of this research comes from Professor Carol Dweck from Stanford University, and we work with her often. So when we engage with schools and businesses and organisations, we can help them to develop a growth mindset culture, help them to improve the feedback and reward systems in their organisation, help them to build intrinsic motivation in everybody, children and adults, help them to boost their self-esteem, help them to build self-efficacy. And self-efficacy is that notion that I can change the outcomes. I can influence the way in which things take place. In a fixed mindset, very often I have a low sense of self-efficacy. I can't really do much about it. I've been given this talent or I have not been given this talent, and that's how it is. Whereas in a growth mindset, I've always got the sense that I can figure it out. We can build and develop it. We have a motto in our organisation: proving is good, improving is better. So notice this is not a choice between either you get good grades or you're happy. It's both. If you are driven intrinsically, if you are more satisfied, if you are happier about what you are doing, guess what? You're going to get better results. And that's why growth mindset is important, and that's why it matters.
Okay, so if you could take a few minutes to think about that, to talk with the people next to you about the idea between fixed and growth mindsets, and then after that I'll give you some more examples, some more ideas of how it applies to your children and what we can do as parents to help them.
じゃあちょっと今日はこれから近くの人と今ビデオを見たことについて何かこうご自分の経験とかいろいろちょっとおしゃべりしてもらって ちょっとその後また続けていきますので、まずちょっと近くの人と話してみてください。勉強会です。
Okay. So, why are you clever? Why can you do what you can do? Why are you good at what you can do? Why are your children good at what they can do? And of course the answer is, it's something to do with our ancestry, our genetics, and it's also to do with our experiences. So the answer is, it's to do with both. But what we don't know is, what's that balance? Is it mainly genetics, mainly ancestry, or mainly experiences? Which is the balance? And since we don't know, we, without even thinking about it, have our own opinion. We have our own set of beliefs, and we act according to those beliefs.
子供でも皆さん自身でも自分ができることとか得意なことって、じゃあなんでそういうふうになったのっていうふうに考えたときに、一つはもともとそういう DNA を引き継いだからっていう考え、先天的なものになるっていう考えの人もいるでしょうし、いやそれは生まれてからの経験とか、努力とかそういうものによるっていう考えで、結論から言うとそれは両方なんですよね。両方なんだけれども、そのバランスについて大抵のことは遺伝だよねっていうふうに考えるか、それかいや大抵のことは努力とか経験から来るものだっていうふうに考えるか、それは人によってそれぞれだと思うんですけれども、私が言いたいのはその、根拠があるようでないような考えに基づいて我々人は、行動のその選択肢を考えますね。
Watanabe-san, he's very good at speaking Japanese. Did you notice? He's very good at it. I'm not. Arigato, ichi-ni, sansi, go, konbini. That's it. Now, why is he very good at Japanese and I'm not? Why? Is it because he's Japanese and I'm not? Or is it because of the way in which he was brought up, what he experienced, what he lived, what he was expected to hear and to speak? Now, we're having a bit of fun here, but there are some children and some parents who think if they can't speak Japanese, they're never going to be able to speak Japanese. They think, because I'm not very good at maths, I'll never be good at maths. Because I have never been able to play a musical instrument, I'm never ever going to be. Because I wasn't brought up in that way. That's what some people think. Other people think, James, you can't speak Japanese yet. It's possible to speak Japanese. Lamia, where's she gone? Oh, she's over there. Lamia over there. Her English is amazing. She didn't start speaking English until she went to high school. At what age?
Oh no, I started studying English when I was 13, which is the 中学校の義務教育始まったあたり。Yeah.
Her English is amazing. but she wasn't brought up speaking English. So I can't speak Japanese yet. I can't play a musical instrument yet. And this is the difference between fixed and growth mindset.
なんかもう皆さん分かっているような感じだからあれですけど、まあ例えば日本語でも英語でもいいんですけれども、じゃあ例えば日本語を僕は話せるんだけれどもジェームスは話せないことについてなぜそうなったかっていうことを考えるときに、ただ単に僕が日本人として生まれたからとかジェームスがイギリス人として生まれたっていうよりも、やっぱ私の育ちの環境の中でそういう日本語を聞くことがあったり、日本語を教えられたり、日本語で勉強したりしたから、まあ、できるようになった。で、ジェームスはそうじゃなかったからできなかった。で、例えば、これは音楽でも語学でも何でもいいんですけども、例えば私はできる、ジェームスはできない、皆さんにはできる、皆さんにはできないとか、例えばそういうことがあったときに、できるのはもうそういう環境にいたからでしょみたいなね、そういう考え方をして、じゃあ英語なんかいい例ですよ、私留学したこともないし、なんか英語をもともと親も話せないし、だから私はもう英語はできないし、多分私はセンスがない、だからこの先も多分私がそれをできることにできるようになることはないっていう、そういう考え方を持つ人がフィクストっていうのは固定されたっていうんですよね。フィクストマインドセットのことで、グロースマインドセットの人の考え方っていうのは、まあ、子供にぜひそういうふうに言ってほしいんですけど、まだできないっていう、今はまだできないけれどもこれから努力すればできるはずだっていうふうに考え方を持つ人のことをグロースマインドセット、この違いがまず一つある。
These are my 3 children. Why are they good at what they can do? And why are they not good at what they can't do? It's something to do with their parents. Something to do with their mother and me. But it's also to do with all of these things. All of those things have an influence. So you and I can influence our children's mindset. You and I can influence our children's beliefs. But of course we're not the only influence. The school has an influence. The teachers in the school have an influence. Their friends, who they play with, who they hang out with, they influence what they think, how they behave, what mindset they are in. All of these factors influence how children are. But you are one of the most important influences on your children. I am one of the most important influences on my children. So what you and I do with our children, our own children, can have a dramatic effect. And we'll talk about some of those things shortly.
こちらジェームスさんのお子さんの写真なんですけれども、じゃあこの子たちができることがあったりできないことがあったりするのはなぜかということを考えたときに、まず一つ親の存在っていうのを皆さん思いつくと思うんですけれども、で確かにそれはそうなんだけれども、他にも学校とか行って受ける教育とか、友達とどういうふうに関わるかとか、まあ性格、その子が持っている性格も影響するでしょうし、まあ広い意味でのコミュニティとか、ね、その子が例えば体が健康かどうかとか、いろいろまあそういうたくさんの要素が絡み合ってその結果が出ている。でその中でも親っていうのは確かにものすごく影響力の割合で言ったら大きい、それは間違いないんだけれども、ここで言いたいのはそれが全てじゃない。 ということは逆に親一人の力で何かを完璧にこう変えようとか作り上げようとかっていうことは、あまり理にかなってないっていうことが言えると思います。でこれからちょっとじゃあ全てじゃないんだけれども影響力の大きな親として何ができるかということについてちょっとお話ししたいと思います。
So, as well as all of these, it's how your children interact with each other. Because I've only got one firstborn child.
でまず一つあるのはこの子供同士がお互いにどう関わるかっていうのがある。
And I've only got one second-born child, and I've only got one third-born child. That's always going to be the way. This can't be reversed. So she's always going to be the oldest out of these three. He's always going to be the one in the middle, and she's always going to be the youngest.
これ例えば3人兄弟だと当然のことながら長男、長女、次女と1番目、2番目、3番目っていうことで、この順番っていうのはもう一生変わらないんですね。
Is it the same in Japan as it is in England, where when you have your firstborn child, is all hail the firstborn child?
もうイギリスでも日本でも一緒ですだと、もう第一子っていうのはもう本当に崇め立てまつるように扱いますよね。
The perfect child.
完璧な子供にしたいということで。
And then you have more children, and it's like, oh, there's more. Well, just follow me then.
分かったと思いますよ。だんだんもういい加減な感じになりますよね。
When we travelled with our one child, we had a carry case, we had a big pram, we had a second pram just in case, we had 2 or 3 bags with all the equipment that we need for her.
もう一人の子供と、要するに一番上の子と旅行した時はもう荷物たくさん持って、あれもこれもって言って旅しましたよね。
And by the time we had the third child, we just put her in a bag.
もう3人目になると、もう適当にカバンの中に突っ込んで持ってったりしますよ。
So we treat children differently. When she was born, Grandma wanted to babysit all the time.
もう真ん中の長女の子が生まれた時は、もうおばあちゃんがもういつも自分が面倒見たいって言ってお世話をしてました。
Grandma finds him very difficult, so doesn't want to babysit.
もう男の子はちょっとわんぱくだったんで、もう私はやりたくないって言ってますね。
And she's bored of having grandchildren now, so she doesn't even want to babysit anymore.
でもう3人目の子になるともう全部興味なくしてしまって。
They have different experiences even in the same family. Always different experiences, even in the same family.
だから同じ家族の中でも一人一人の子供のその置かれる環境とか経験することって全く違いますよ。
And if you think about rules, Ava, my eldest, she likes the rules. She's very good at following rules.
でも長女はとにかくもうこう書いてルールが好きで、もうルールに従って行動するのが得意です。
Harry, he's why we have to have rules.
もう真ん中の子はもう自分のせいでルールができたんだっていう理解をしている。
And Phoebe thinks the rules do not apply to her.
まあ自分には関係ないっていう。
These three are different. So no wonder their personalities are different. No wonder their mindset is different from each other. So yes, you can influence your children. The school influences your children. Their friends influence your children. But it's also to do with personality, it's to do with how we treat them It's how they are in relation to others in the family and so on. So when I give you the ideas this afternoon, please don't think that you've been doing it wrong. Just think there are things that we can add or change that will help.
お分かりのように本当に子供ってそれぞれ環境も違えば性格も違って関わる人とかお互いの家庭内における関係性も違うので当然のことながら同じようには育たない。だからそういうもんだっていう前提で今日お話ししますけれども、決して今まで皆さんがやってきたことが間違ってたとかそういうことじゃなくて、さらに良くするために何かできることを一緒に考えていきましょう。
Okay, so take 2 minutes to talk about this with each other. Maybe you've got the same situation in your family, maybe it's different, but talk about how your children have developed their mindset, what their mindset might be, and then I'll give you some ideas after that about what we can do to help all children get into a growth mindset.
じゃあここでまた皆さんさっきみたいに我が子についてちょっとどういうマインドセットを自分の子が持っているかとか、こういう育ちの中でどういうふうに子供が違うかとか、ちょっとそういうことを話してもらって、その後そういう中で先ほどお話したグロースマインドセットにどのようにして子供を変えていけるのかっていうお話をしたいと思います。じゃあまた2分間ぐらい繰り返します。
Very quick few examples and then I'll talk about what we can do. Why mindset matters. Her calligraphy skills are amazing. If I'm in a fixed mindset, I look at her and think, she is amazing. I'm never going to be able to do that.
ちょっと2、3例を出してコメントしたいと思うんですけれども、例えばこの書道家の人を見ていただいて、私はもう素晴らしいなと思うんですけれども、同時に、自分はもう絶対こんなことはできないなっていうふうに思うわけです。
I don't know her story, but I guess she's been practicing for years and years and years. I guess that she has a passion that she has been developing for many, 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 many years. And she is now, I assume, celebrated around the world. That's her at the United Nations performing her calligraphy.
私は彼女のことは直接知らないんですけれども、想像するに、ここに来るまでにものすごい練習をたくさんして、でも強い情熱を持ち続けて、でこの写真は国連で披露している写真ですけれども、こういうところでみんなに称賛されてっていう、そういう経験をしてるんだっていうふうに想像します。
But if I'm in a fixed mindset, I look at her and think she is amazing because she's Japanese, because she has a natural talent, because she seems to be very arty, and that is not me. So in a fixed mindset, I admire her, but I never ever think to myself, I can do it.
で彼女の姿をそのフィクストマインドセットで見ると、当然僕はできない。なぜなら、彼女は日本人だからとか、彼女はもともと芸術的なセンスがあったからだとか、やっぱり彼女はできるけども僕はもう多分一生できることはないだろうっていう考え方をします。
But in a growth mindset, I think it's never too late to start.
Behold, my first ever attempt at calligraphy this week in Sunnyside. Woohoo! Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
この間うちのクラブジャパニーズにジョインしてやったんですけども、例えというとグロースマインドセットであればnever too late ってことで、もう思い立ったが吉日というか遅すぎることはないっていうそういう考え方をするのがグロースマインドセット。
But he said, did you notice their applause was as if I'm a 3-year-old? Oh, bless. He's so
まるで
cute.
私が3歳児の子が書道やったかのように褒めていただいてありがとうございます。
So, fixed mindset thinks those people are amazing, I can never do that. Growth mindset is those people are amazing, I want to try to become better. And I'm realistic. I know I'm never going to be as talented as she is at calligraphy. But I also know I can get better. I can get a lot better. And so long as I use her for inspiration, rather than I have to be the same as her, then I can grow my talents.
ですので先ほどから言ってるようにフィクストマインドセットだったらこういう人を見てももう自分は絶対できるわけないと思うんだけれども、それに現実的に考えれば自分がやって彼女と同じようになることはないと思ってるんだけれども、それでも何かやればベター成長することはできるっていうふうに考えるんです。それがグロースマインドセットの考え方です。
Here's another example. Do you recognize this person? She's not as famous, but she's in this room. That's Carmen over there.
カーメンさんね、もともとソフトボールの結構マジな選手だったんです。
Do you notice how her face is as red as her dress is right now?
顔がね、今日のドレスと同じぐらい赤いのが分かると思います。
So last week we had a barbecue here and there was a competition. And Carmen was at one end of the, what would we call this? This deck. And I was at the other end, and we had to put blindfolds on. We both had these big sticks, and we had to find our way and whack a watermelon.
この間月曜日の夜にちょっと職員でここでウェルカムバーベキューをやった時に僕がもうシーズン終わってるんだけどスイカ割りやらせてやろうっていう話になって真ん中にスイカを置いて今回は2人目隠しして両側からそれぞれガイドをつけてやって先に割った方が勝ちっていう結構危険なスイカ割りをやったんですよ。その話をしてる。
So, if I'm in a fixed mindset, I say, this is not fair. This is not fair because Carmen is brilliant with a bat. That's not fair. I can kick a ball, that's my sport, but I can't hit anything with a bat. She used to play softball almost professionally. How is that fair?
僕は正直あんまり関係ないと思ったんだけどなんかソフトボールをやっててバットを使い慣れてるから僕はサッカーしかやってこなくて足しか使ったことないからフェアじゃないって言ってすごい言ってたんですよ。
So in a fixed mindset, I think I'm not even going to try because I've got no chance. In a growth mindset, I say, well, it's going to be fun. Let me try. I might do okay. Do you want to see how it worked out? Are you ready? Look. Ready? Are you ready? I mean, look at Ninja! Ninja Carmen!
もともとフィクストマインドセットだったら多分もうどうせできないからもう参加そのものを拒否して もうやらないっていうと思うんですけど、グロースマインドセットの考え方だったらまあ面白いかもしれないし、とりあえずやってみようっていうそういう考え方で、その結果どうなったかちょっと見てください。
Now, here's a problem, big problem. If Carmen had been in a fixed mindset, she could have got very angry. And she might not have taken part because she thought, well, hang on a minute, I might lose something, some credibility. People might not think I'm so good anymore. This is a stupid game.
I did.
You did think that. She could blame the blindfold. And the fact, and she could blame, you see, she was talking to me, telling me what to do. So Carmen might have blamed the other person who was telling her. These are all the things that happen when you're in a fixed mindset. Whereas in a growth mindset, we think, we had fun. That was not softball. That was a party game. So, you know, we're just playing here. And when you are in a growth mindset, you tend to be more playful.
でここで一つ問題があるのは、もしここで負けたカルメンさんがフィクストマインドセットの持ち主だったとすると、当然この結果に対してもう納得いかないって腹を立てたりとか、なんなら悪いのは私じゃない、こんなはずはないって言って、その自分をガイドした人をこう責めるかもしれないし、目隠しのことを責めるかもしれないし、何かこう言い訳をしてこうなんていうんですか、その不満を訴えるような態度を取るかもしれない。フィクストマインドセット、グロースマインドセットをカルメンさんが持ってたら、いやそれでも楽しかったじゃない、って言ってこうなんていう和やかにフレンドリーに関わることができる。そういうこともあるわけで、フィクストマインドセットとグロースマインドセットのそのアウトカムというか結果として。
So, one thing that we can do as parents is be playful. And not just playful with our kindergarten children, but playful with our school-age children and our grown-up children. Be playful, be willing to show that we'll try things even though they'll go wrong. Be willing to show that we want to get better, but it's not all about winning. It's about participating, it's about enjoying, it's about growing, it's about getting better, but it's not always about being perfect, and it's not always about being the best. It's about being playful. Be playful. Have a go. Try it out. Even if you think, I stand no chance of success here, demonstrate it. Play it in front of the children.
ここからちょっとじゃあ親としてまずできることって何かっていうことの一つに、今ジェームスさんプレイフルっていう言葉を使いましたけども、これ日本語でどういうふうに訳すかっていうと、遊び心とか言う人もいるかもしれないですけど、僕からしたらノリっていう言葉がいいかな。とにかく親が自ら子供の目の前で失敗するかもしれないし、完璧にはできないかもしれないけれども、多少はうまくなるかもしれないし、とにかく恥かいてでもやってみようみたいな、そういう姿を見せていくことで、子供がそのグロースマインドセットをだんだん真似るかもしれない。
So the second aspect that works really effectively is to think about the way we praise our children. what we praise, and how we praise them.
で2つ目には子供を褒める褒め方、どうやって褒めるのか、何を褒めるのかっていうことを考えていただきたいと思います。
When you look at the research, there is a difference between intelligence praise. This is saying something about the child themselves, compared to process praise is saying this is what you've done.
ここに2つの褒め方があって、例えば何かできた時に「君は賢いね」っていうその人物のこうなんていうんですか、ありようみたいなものを直接的に褒める場合と、上のようにその「頑張ったね」と「ここまで努力したね」っていうそのプロセスとかその本人の取った行動を褒めるっていうこの実は大きな違いがあります。
Come on over here. Come on. So, intelligence praise, and this is the wrong type of praise.
これは間違った褒め方ですから。
You are a very clever man. You're very talented.
Thank you.
And some would say you're good looking too.
Maybe.
Translate this, please.
まあ僕のことを一つは頭がいいねとかそんな感じで褒める。
It sounds nice, doesn't it? But this is what we call intelligence praise. I'm praising him for who he is. Let's say he does very, very, very well in a test. And I say, well done, you are very smart. It sounds nice. But then he starts thinking, to do well in a test, you have to be smart. But what happens then if he does badly in a test? So today he does very well, and I say, you did very well, you're very smart. But next week he does badly in the test, and I say, well, better luck next time. But what does he start thinking? You have to be smart to do well. Therefore, if you do badly, you're not smart. He thinks, I'm not smart.
だからあなたは賢いねっていう褒め方をすると、もし僕はその賢くないといい点を取らないいい点を取るには賢くないとダメなんだっていう考え方をするし、次のテストをやった時にうまくできなかったら僕は賢くないんだっていう捉え方をしてしまいます。
But if I go for growth mindset praise, and I'm still praising, I can say instead, that was a really smart idea. You did really well because you concentrated, because you tried, because you were willing to have a go. So in other words, I'm praising what he does rather than who he is.
だからその代わりに今のはいい考えだったねとか、君はものすごく努力してたねとか、すごく集中してたねとか、そういうふうにその行動に対してそれが良かったねっていうことを褒めると、グロースマインドセットを持てるようになる。
So imagine he does very well on a test, and I say, well done. You must have tried really hard. You must have concentrated. Your focus, your dedication made that successful. That's today. Imagine next week when he does badly on a test. Now what does he start thinking? Maybe I need to try harder. Maybe I need to concentrate more. Maybe I need to listen better. And of course, the thing is, he can change that.
で、片やその行動に対して褒めてもらった場合、例えばよく集中してたねとか、よく努力したねとかっていうことを褒めた後で、次の週に結果が悪かった時に本人は何を思うかっていうと、あ、もっと集中して聞けばよかったんじゃないかとか、もっとこう努力すればよかったんじゃないかとか、そういう振り返りを本人がする。つまりその部分っていうのは本人は変えられるっていうふうに思ってます。自分の努力で変えることができるっていう考え方をするんです。
Praise is powerful, but the problem is it always feels good, but it might not have a good effect. If I praise the person, it feels nice, but the problem is when he does badly, when he makes mistakes, when he doesn't win, when he doesn't achieve what he wants to achieve, then we run the risk of him thinking, I'm not clever enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not talented enough.
これにも書いてあるんですけども、褒められれば誰でも気分はいいんです。だから別に褒めること自体はやるべきなんだけれども、そのさっき言ったようなその人物そのものに対する褒め方をダイレクトにやると、うまくいかなかった時に自分は頭が悪いんだとか才能がないんだとか、そういう受け止め方を子供がしてしまう場合があります。
But if I praise him saying, that was a really good idea, you tried really hard, you focused very well, you listened and you got better and better and better and better, that still sounds nice. And when things go wrong, when he doesn't win, when he doesn't complete what he wants to complete, when he isn't the best, he can say to himself, I need to try even harder. I need to concentrate even more. I need to put more time and effort into this. And he can do that. The only way that I can get better is if I put more effort, more time, more concentration, more passion into it. That's the only way. So if I'm going to praise my children, and I want to praise my children, I want to praise your children when I'm here at Sunnyside. I'm going to make absolutely sure I'm praising what they do rather than who they are. Just in case things go wrong later, and if they go wrong, I want them to think it was something I did or didn't do rather than it's because I'm a failure.
繰り返しになるんですけれども、やっぱりこういうことでも上達しようと思ったらそれは努力するしかないんですよ、実際に。だから本人がいい結果が出なかった時も、自分はもっとこうすればいい、ああすればいいって努力をすればいいっていうふうに思えるようにするには、最初から君は頭がいいとか君はセンスがあるとか、そういう褒め方をするとうまくいかなかった時に本人はもう自分がダメなんだ、才能がないんだって考え方するけれども、褒める段階でその行動を褒めると、その本人はうまくいかなかった時もその行動を振り返って そこを変えていけばより良い結果が出るんじゃないかっていう考え方ができるようになるんだと思います。
Look at this. Look at the praise that these gorgeous children are giving Carmen for one line. I mean, well done. Bravo. That is gorgeous because they're praising her for having a go, for trying it out. They're applauding her. That is lovely. And we see this a lot in kindergarten. I mean, kindergarten children are generally, hey, woohoo! But here's my worry. When these children get older, maybe 10 years old, are they now going to start comparing themselves? Are they going to start looking at what they've done and looking at what other people have done and deciding, well, she's better than me, he's better than me? And if she decides they're better than me, therefore they must be more artistic than me, therefore they must be better than me. How many children are now thinking, I don't want to try, what's the point?
もうこれカルメンさんの写真はもう線一本引いただけで幼稚園の子たちがもう手叩いて拍手してくれて称賛してくれて幼稚園の子たちってそういうなんていうんですかその明るさとかピュアな気持ちがあるんだけれども例えばこういうそういう子たちでも10年先もっと大人になった時に今度は自分の作品と隣の子の作品を自分で比べて自分は下手だなとかあの子の方がいいなと思った時に、自分でいやもうどうせ私は才能がないからとかどうせ私は下手だからって思ったらもうみんな子供たちはもうシューンとしちゃってもうなんかね元気がないような感じになっちゃいますよね。
But if we can help all these children to stay in a growth mindset, then when they're 10 years old, for example, they can look and think, she's doing better because she's put more time, because she has a lot more passion for this, because she finds it easier than I do. But you know what? I can still get better. So long as I concentrate, I can improve. And if you are in a growth mindset, what you focus on more is comparing yourself against yourself. What am I like today compared to what I was like last year? Rather than what am I like compared to him or her.
でこの子たちにグロースマインドセットを持たせ続けることができればそういう状況になった時も自分よりできる子を見て多分この子は私よりも努力をしたんだろうなとか私よりも好きで情熱があったんだろうなとかそういう捉え方をしてつまり自分もやればできるんじゃないかっていう考え方やっぱりそういう考え方ができるようになるそうすると結局は友達と自分のその才能であるとかその人物であるとかそういうものを比較する人と自分を比較するんじゃなくって今の自分と過去の自分を比較したり今の自分と次になりたい自分をこう比較し自分と自分を比較してその努力とかなんていうんですか、反省とかそういうものをできるようになるそれはグロースマインドセットの一つの姿です。
Please don't do what I did when I first found out about this research. I thought to myself, oh no, I have praised every child I've ever worked with in the wrong way. I felt terrible. And my first response was to stop praising. I thought, if I don't praise them, I'm not going to get it wrong.
今日ねこういうお話聞いて、私もう今までね完全に間違った褒め方してたで、そういうふうに思いすぎて自分もじゃあもうちょっと褒めるのやめようかなぐらいに思っちゃったりしたことありますけど、決してそういう考え方しないでください。
All the children I worked with, you could see them thinking, what do we have to do to impress this man? He's not praising us at all.
もう褒めてもらえないと、もう褒められるためにどうしたらいいかって子どもたちは一生懸命考えるようになります。
So then I realized, actually, I need to praise. I just need to get used to praising what they do rather than who they are.
だから当然やっぱり褒めることは大事なんですけれども、ただその今日散々言ったように褒め方のポイントとしてその取った行動を褒める習慣を親さんが徐々に身につけていくといいんじゃないかっていうふうに思います。
And I still sometimes hear myself. I mean, the words just fall out of my mouth. Good girl. Good boy. It's like some sort of tick. It's like Tourette's. I don't know if that translates into Japanese.
Just comes out of it. とは言ってもやっぱり気づくとね、いい子だったねとか思わずそうやって言っちゃうことも確かにありますよ。
But now when I hear myself say, good boy, I follow it up, good boy, for trying really hard. So I follow it up with a growth mindset message.
思わずいい子だったねって言っちゃった時になぜならみたいな感じでつけるようにちょっと気をつけてます。
So why we started with this at the beginning was one of the ways that the teachers here at Sunnyside School are helping your children to get into a growth mindset more is to help them into the learning pit so that they can praise them for being willing to try, to experiment, to work together, to think really hard, to collaborate and focus until eventually you work it out.
でこれラーニングピットのサニーサイドバージョンなんですけれども、私たちというかここの教員がこういうものを使って皆さんのお子さんに教えたいことっていうのは、これなんかあたかもうまくいかなくて穴に落ちたっていうようなネガティブな考え方もできるんですけれども、こう新しいことにチャレンジしたりいろんな考え方をするように自ら落ちていったというか、そういうところにこう足を踏み出した子どもの姿っていうものを私たちはあなたたちはこういう学びをしていて素晴らしいんだよっていうふうに褒めたくってこういう図を使ったりするんです。
And guess which children find the learning pit the hardest? It's the children who normally are the best. The children who normally succeed every time. They are the ones who find the learning pit the hardest. Because when we go into the learning pit, everybody is learning. Nobody can do it straight away. Everybody is struggling. And so the children who are not used to struggling, they are the ones who find this the hardest. And actually they are the ones for whom it's the most important to get into the learning pit, so that they can see that we can all improve. No matter how good you are right now, we can all improve. And also, I want every child to know what it feels like to struggle, because you know what? They will struggle in life
at times. We will struggle, all of us struggle, at one time or another. And I want every child to have a lot of strategies for dealing with that. So that they think, okay, so I need to try harder, or I need to try a different strategy, or I need to collaborate with other people, or I need to look online to see if there's a better solution, or I'm going to have to do it in a different way. That's what we're trying to do here at Sunnyside by guiding them through the learning pit.
で結局こういうラーニングピットみたいなのを一番苦手としたり嫌う子っていうのはもともと何でもチャッチャッチャってできちゃう子たち、その挫折を知らないから、挫折を知らない子がこういう穴に入ってもがくっていう経験をするとすごく辛いんですよ。でもともとあんまりそのいろんなことがかえってスムーズにできない子はそれが当たり前だと思って入っていって、この中で結局我々は全ての子どもたちがああでもないこうでもないってもがき、こういろんな考えを巡らせることがその大事だと思ってるわけですよ、教育者としては。だけどもともと優秀な子っていうか何でもできちゃう子ほどね、こういうところをこういう穴に入って一筋縄でいかないっていう経験をさせたいんです。なぜなら彼らが生きていく人生においては思い通りにならなかったり一筋縄でいかないことはたくさんあるから、そういうことに直面した時もこういうやり方がダメならああいうやり方があるとか、ここでこらえなきゃダメだとか、そういう経験を学校教育の中でさせておくっていうのがすごく大事なことだと思って、全ての生徒にこのラーニングピットっていう経験をさせたいっていうのが私たちの思いなんですね。
Okay, so I hope you found this to be useful. It's a starting point. We're going to be working with all the staff from Sunnyside again this afternoon. That's how dedicated the staff are at Sunnyside to supporting and helping your children. We're going to be together on a Saturday afternoon. So I hope that you found this useful, and to all the people who are joining us online as well. I'm delighted to say that I think we've got an open invitation to come back to Sunnyside. So we hope to return. You know Carmen's going to be practicing her calligraphy the whole time before she comes back. And her watermelon hitting. But for now, thank you very much. It's been a delight working with you. Arigato.